my good colleague loves Crayolas, and she wants Crayolas to be standing out amongst all of the other subjects. She feels that Crayolas should be taught in schools and not English. Now that's her thought. What are we gearing our children for? We're gearing them to pass the darn CXC English. But not forgetting, Lambert Britton and Victor Lowenfield says that the child learns best in his own environment. Now, like for instance, you're doing mathematics, but before that, what do you think mathematics? Mathematics classified as an academic subject, or is it classified as a practical subject? A practical subject, or is it an academic? Is it not with the core subjects? And what are the core subjects? The core subjects are what? Academic, practical, or stupidity? What it is? Really? Are you studying in school and are you going to talk now? Right? What the part of the core subjects? Now let's take for instance a child in Linden and how we can get the use of the child's environment in aiding and helping them to understand the rudiments that we're teaching. And that in itself is our first learning teaching aid, the environment. Now let's take it into, you know Fat Poke? Yes. Fat Poke does grow away. Where did Fat Poke grow? Sandy, Fat Poke, you can't say you're opening business selling Fat Poke in Linden. Because why? So now let's say that the child from Linden, he is familiar with the Fat Poke. So you can use the Fat Poke that he's accustomed to in his environment to relate to him in mathematics, in social studies, in all of the subjects that we deem as being the core subject. Parents want their children to excel. Every parent got this great big idea that they want their son or their daughter to be the president. Well, presidents don't make money. But some doctor, some lawyer, some scientist, some this, some that. So that is their vision. We as teachers is burdened with the task of two things. One, educating the children and at the same time trying to fulfill the requirements that the ministry and our education department lays on us. All they want to see is good results. I got 95% pass in social studies, man. 90, how many people write in social studies? 2 people. So we cannot measure that. So using things found in the environment helps the child to relate to it. So props now, I say cheaper teachers cheap when it comes to probably doing A's and what's not and this and that and the other. But why are they cheap? They don't get a lot of money and they have their priorities. Of course they have to do their nails. When I'm joking, when my daughter was like about 13, I introduced her to the nail stuff. That was $500 then. My daughter is married with one handsome son, making me, you know, the owner of a handsome grandson. And you know what they say? They say handsome grandfathers always create handsome. And when she started with her nails, it was $500. Now, whoop! Esteem is good for us to develop in our children. Alright, all of this here, man, but maybe with all of this here, you can get a handout, you read it when you feel like reading it. Right? But one important thing is the language can be defined as a verbal, listen to me, language, verbal, physical, biological, what's the word again? Innate. Right? And a basic form of communication. But it's not just the physical aspect. Let's deal with that. Right? Language is physical. You know, there's some people, when they're talking, you know, some of them don't say nothing but their hands flying. You know, when two people warring. Good, because why? You're hearing nothing but your hand. Likewise too, those are semiotic signs and symbols that make us discern what we're doing. Likewise too, as teachers, what we need to do is to use signs and symbols that are familiar with the children, to help them to carry over our tasks. And our task is to teach them, educate them, and make them pass the CXC English. Now, in passing the CXC English, most of us, and being very, very honest, some of the children with some of the errors, you talk Creolese to them, they understand. But you don't talk Creolese, no problem with that. But what we as teachers need to do is that we need to echo the switching. And we have to do that. Creolese was one of the first languages that was developed by the slaves that came from different aspects. You call them dialect. Right? And dialect is a regional variety of language. Right? Notwithstanding the spoken language. Now let's paint a picture in terms of Guyana. We were a colony. We had slave masters. We had French slave masters, Dutch slave masters, and we finally have the English slave masters. When they brought the slaves, they confined them that they would not communicate with each other. So they made sure that the slaves that they brought from Africa or spoke different dialects, so they couldn't really rebel. After the slaves were colonized, and they started to develop their own form of dialect to communicate with the white masters and amongst themselves. When the East Indian came, they spoke no English, they spoke Hindi. And what happened is that you had now a fusion of African-speaking Creole language influenced by the Indian. So you find some words that arrived or derived from Indian Hindi words, English words. Now, it was a normal thing to communicate, speaking Creolese. The fastest thing you had to learn was this new of communication. You hear them Chinese? Them Chinese don't speak proper English, but they try their best to talk the English that they understand. And likewise too, that was the same predicament that our ancestors had. After the slaves were emancipated and they went from the sugar estate to the villages, their dialect was developed even more. And they communicated with that dialect because they weren't given educational opportunities. They weren't given a lot of things, but they dealt with it and it served its purpose. During that time, the arrival of the English language, in the sense of English language, which we're not ridiculing, because it's universal, but we need to understand what really and how we should go about teaching the English language to our youngsters. Most people in the villages and in the rural areas, they speak raw Creolese. Barbicians don't pronounce the H, they say L. Don't matter how you get. Oh, anybody a Barbician, eh? They never would say L, they'll say good. And they'll think, the Indians on the west coast are being Ayo. BBs, ABBs. So you find that. So now parents communicate the best way they could with the term Creole. We as teachers, we're in the dilemma. Because here you have a language that the children are speaking 24/7. And when they come to your class, they can't even understand what you're saying. You see the dilemma? But we cannot falter from what we are supposed to do. We need to use dialect as a vehicle for teaching proper English. Because when it's always, what's the complaint from CXC? The children can't write. They pass with 10 CXCs. And they go to the office, the manager complaining they can't write. The reporters can't write. The announcers can't pronounce. You understand? But what is our task? We are not the conscience of the world. We are just simple people doing a task that we love. Nobody forced you. Your mommy forced you to be teacher? Good. Anybody mommy forced them to be teacher? Nobody. So you come in it. But even if you just decide that they don't know what I work for teaching, what? So I don't take it until I get what I want. Yes. Couple more years, good charity coming. And the minute when you reach a circle, you're going to care about nothing. All you're watching is them good charity. And you want to know what school you're at. Are you the 8th grade, a B grade, a C grade, a D grade, or an E grade? If you get E grade, you want to get A grade. If you get A grade, you want to stay is super A. So that is it. You can't vex. Everybody's entitled to their own social development, and you cannot vex with that. But what we need to realize is that we need to look at strategies in terms of edifying the children in the classroom. If we can do it and we deal with the smaller children, if we can do that ignite them to respond. The world is very visual. Alright, that is definition, right? The world is very, very visual. Very, very visual. Very, very visual is that. What them little picnic know? What them little picnic I know? Visual in the sense that you've got what? You've got the smartphones. And the smartphones got visual images. You've got the tablet. You've got the Kindle. You've got the next Kindle. You've got the iPhone. You've got a phone where it's phone and Kindle and Tibble and everything inside. Then you got TV. Then you got direct TV. Now this is the dilemma that we face. You got direct TV. You got one company doing direct TV from Spanish-speaking countries. One doing it from all the way, and you got cable service that will give you 80 channels, my sisters. 80 channels, oh my gosh. What is that saying to us? That our children, they're becoming much more visual in their things. And what is being developed is their visual senses more than any other. You may think that they know this and they know that. You think that WWE, they know, like I went to a party on Saturday. The mommy sat down next to the boy. I said, do you look at WWE? Here's mommy. No, I don't allow him to look at that. I look at the little boy. You know John Cena, you want to bug him. I watched the mommy. She don't know, but that is it. You just can't rely on it. As teachers, what we need to do is that we need to make our lessons much more visual. And how are the ways we can make it more visual? By changing our appearance from time to time. Now, let's say you're doing community work. But what I'm saying is that we need to change. We are visual learning and teaching aids. Just ourselves. How we dress. How we dress is very, very important. And the kids love us. So from time to time, so the first aid is the visual appearance of yourself. Now let's say you're doing social studies and you're talking about You're talking about community workers. Come on. Community workers. Boys, name one community worker. You see? A doctor. Well, boys and girls, we're going to talk about the doctor. The doctor takes a syringe with a point. Look for your private part, your buttocks. And then, ow! That is one way. But come on, boys and girls. Oh my, we are going to talk about it. And you put on a little doctor thing. You know? Do I look like a doctor? Yes, teacher. You get their involvement. You get, and don't tell the child they're talking too much. Why is they talking too much? Why is it that you think that they're talking too much? It's because you are not talking to them. You understand? And you let them, okay, what is this? Oh, teacher. Oh, well, some of them are speaking English. My daughter started perfect English at home. Yes, man. And when she hit the nursery school, blue-dunks. Daddy, may come home and have him see you. You understand? So, like that, you're talking about the market vendor. You know, and with the market vendor, you dress up, you put on a fancy, you know, they got songs. Children are very, very visual, they're very thing they sound. What is the market song? Who is it? Who is it? Oh God, you forget the market song. Get your mangoes, get it, and well, it is so nice. Mangoes in season, don't be so cheap. Bring some mangoes and you talk about, and you have it and you share it with them. And they can start it enacting. It's a learning situation. Alright, we're doing community workers. You be the doctor. You be the market vendor. You be the police. And you talk. Now, what are some of the characteristics of the police? What is some of the characteristics of the market vendor? What is the characteristics of the doctor? And you can, in simple, visual, dramatic form, relate certain basic concepts to the children in a fun way. Sheikh Bash was saying, there's got to be more fun in education. Mrs. Manny Chan, say anything what he said, but do it with a different voice. You have to have more fun in education. Fun is being organized. I'm a clown. Don't look at me so. I'm a clown. And I create fun at parties. Before I came here, I was at a MASH meeting. There's a headache meeting. And the Khan and I answer. The lady saying, Mr. Khan, we need you for the 21st. I said, Mr. Khan, make it for the 21st. Mr. Khan, when you can make it? I say, the 20th. Or I can call you back. Within 5 minutes. Yeah, we're done for the 20th. So, that tells me what? That I'm damn good. And she knows that I'm darn expensive. So it's a win-win situation. So I'm saying, simple little ways, simple little things, you're making it more visual. Because 99% of children learn 99% of the times through visual, tactile sensations. The senses play a very, very important part. So you have them with all of these things. Props are important. I'm not telling you to go make your, go buy props and this and that and the other. I'm telling you to be innovative. And because a child learns best in its environment, use the things in its environment.